I didn't expect the worst moment of my life to happen 30 feet above the ground before the plane even took off. But that's the funny thing about humiliation. It doesn't ask for permission, it just shows up loud and confident like it owns the place. My name is Leonard Hayes. I'm 68 years old, retired transit supervisor, spent 4 decades keeping city buses running on time, raised 2 kids, paid every bill I ever owed. My wife, Evelyn, 65, former middle school counselor, the kind of woman who remembers everyone's birthday and still thanks the cashier by name. We weren't flashy people, never tried to be, but that morning for once we treated ourselves. First-class anniversary trip, nothing wild, just legroom and a quiet ride, you know what I mean. The gate agent scanned our passes, nodded, and waved us through. Easy. Too easy, apparently. Halfway down the jet bridge, a flight attendant stepped sideways and blocked us not subtly either. Her badge said Monica, her smile didn't reach her eyes, and the first thing out of her mouth wasn't hello or welcome aboard, it was, "You're in the wrong boarding group." I chuckled honestly, thinking it was a mix-up. "We're first class," I said, holding up the pass. She glanced at it, then at us, then laughed. Not friendly laughter, more like disbelief with teeth. "That's what you think," she said. Evelyn squeezed my arm lightly the way she does when she wants me to stay calm. "Our seats are 2A and 2C, she said softly. Monica tilted her head, eye-sharp voice suddenly louder. "Sir, people try this all the time. Let's not make it awkward." That's when I felt it. That familiar sinking feeling, the one you get when you realize this isn't confusion, it's judgment. She wasn't checking the system anymore, she was checking us. She tapped on her tablet, sighed theatrically, then said, "Looks like there was an error. We'll fix it." A printer chirped. New boarding passes slid out. She tore the originals in half right in front of us, clean and deliberate. "You're in economy now," she said, handing us the new ones. "Rows 31 and 33. "Separate?" Evelyn asked, her voice steady but tight. "Plane's full." Monica shrugged. "Happens." I opened my mouth to argue, then closed it. I've learned over the years that sometimes arguing just gives people permission to enjoy hurting you. We walked past first class, past the seats we'd paid for, past people pretending not to stare, and into the back of the plane, smaller, quieter, invisible. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Once the doors closed, the rules changed. Not the written ones, the unspoken ones. Evelyn was wedged into a middle seat, knees pressed against the tray table. No room to shift without bumping someone. I was 2 rows back, aisle seat, knees angled sideways to let people pass, every brush feeling intentional. We tried to look at each other just to check in, but a cart rolled between us, blocking the view like a wall. Another attendant, younger guy named Kyle, came down the aisle early, pushing the cart hard enough to rattle cups. He stopped beside Evelyn's row, blocking her in completely. "Excuse me," she said politely, raising her hand just a little. Kyle snapped his head around. "Don't wave at us like that." Her hand froze midair. "I just wanted to ask if—" "Ma'am," he cut in loudly, "you're seated correctly. First class is up there." A couple people glanced over. Someone lifted a phone, then lowered it again. I stood up instinctively. Before I could say a word, Monica appeared, fast and sharp. She pressed her palm flat against my chest, not a shove, just enough pressure to stop me. "Sir," she said, voice sweet for the cabin, "sit down. You're causing a disruption." I looked at her hand, then at her face. "My wife is fine," she interrupted. "Sit." So I did. Because when someone has power and an audience, they don't need to be right. Things escalated slowly the way cruelty often does. Little things. The cart clipping Evelyn's knee without apology. Kyle snapping at her for adjusting her tray table. Monica tightening her seatbelt during turbulence too tight, pinning her breath and never loosening it after. When Evelyn tried to fix it herself, Kyle appeared instantly. "Hands down," he said. "You don't follow instructions very well." I watched my wife stare straight ahead, jaw clenched, eyes glassy but dry. That's when I knew this wasn't about rules. It was about control. Then came the accusation. A phone slid across the aisle and stopped near my shoe. Kyle spun around immediately. "Hey," he said loud, "that yours?" "No," I said, startled. It fell. Monica was there in seconds. "Sir, do not touch that." I wasn't. Kyle, secure it, she said. People murmured. Someone said they saw it fall from the cart, but Monica shut her down with a look. The phone was returned to another passenger with a syrupy apology. None came to me. The message was clear. We could make anything stick. By the time we landed, Evelyn was shaking. I felt hollow, like something essential had been scooped out and left behind at 30,000 feet. As we stood to deplane, Evelyn reached for the overhead bin. Her bag was gone. It was right here, she whispered. Monica turned instantly smile back in place. Are you sure? People get confused when they're stressed. I'm sure, Evelyn said, voice firm. Kyle checked the bin, shrugged theatrically. Not here. I stepped into the aisle. That's enough. Monica's smile thinned. Sir, you're holding up the line. So are you, I said quietly. That's when a woman a few rows up stood. Young, nervous phone in her hand. I saw them change your seats, she said, and I recorded some of what happened. Silence dropped like a weight. More phones appeared, not raised high, just visible. Monica laughed brittle. This is ridiculous. Maybe a man said softly from across the aisle, but I saw the cart hit her knee. Something shifted then, not power truth. Evelyn and I walked off the plane together at last. As we passed Monica, she muttered, people like you always think you're special. Evelyn stopped, turned just enough to meet her eyes. We don't think we're special, she said calmly. We think we're human. The terminal hit us with noise and movement. And then I saw him. Our son Marcus. Early 40s calm presence, the kind of man who doesn't rush but somehow arrives exactly when needed. He took one look at Evelyn, at the way she favored her knee at the passes clenched in her hand, and his smile disappeared. What happened? He asked. Not here, I said automatically. He nodded. Okay, then sit. We told him everything. He didn't interrupt, didn't get loud, didn't posture. He listened, then made a call. Then another. Not to customer service, but to compliance, to executive relations names and timestamps spoken quietly into his phone. When Monica stepped off the jet bridge and saw Marcus standing there, something in her faltered. She asked if she could help. Yes, Marcus said calmly. Explain why my parents were moved from first class, separated, physically handled, and accused of theft. She laughed lightly. Misunderstanding. Marcus held up the torn boarding passes. Then explain the error. Security arrived calm and professional. Statements were taken. Devices collected. Monica and Kyle were escorted aside. No yelling, no drama, just process. Later, we learned the truth. This wasn't the first time. Patterns emerged. Complaints buried. Overrides justified. People betting on silence. The airline issued apologies, rewrote policies, suspended staff. Careers ended quietly. Not with headlines, but with records. Weeks later, life settled back into its shape. Our porch, our routines, our walks around the block. But something had changed. Not just for us, for the system that thought we wouldn't matter. Here's the thing. Justice doesn't always arrive with shouting. Sometimes it arrives with witnesses' receipts and someone willing to listen. If you've ever been judged by how you look spoken down to because someone thought you didn't belong, I want to hear from you. Was it right? Was it wrong? What would you have done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this story. And the next time you see someone being quietly erased, use your voice even if it shakes. Because dignity doesn't belong to the powerful. It belongs to everyone.